Hi, this is Abdullah Laghari. I'm working as a lecturer at Department of English, Quaid-e-Awam University of Engineering, Science and Technology. In today's talk, I will talk about the importance of linguistics. And when you talk about linguistics, in linguistics, one of the key methods, when you talk about that is ELT, English language teaching. And in English language teaching, one of the most significant methods is communicative language teaching method, that is CLT. Now, let's talk about the importance of CLT in the modern world. So as far as, CLT is concerned, so if you can look at the slides, CLT is very effective, very helpful language teaching method. It aims to improve the communication skills of the students. It does not focus on grammatical items, sentence structures. Rather, its concern is to improve a learner's communicative competence, and so that they should be able to perform in the real life situation. Now let's talk about the background of CLT. CLT has emerged as an approach that aims to make communicative competence the goal of language teaching. Yes, communicative competence is the only goal of teaching. We teachers are concerned to improve the language skills of students. We're not supposed to impose grammatical items on the learners because they moreover confuse the students. Rather, we have to enable them. Rather, we have to give them the free space or the conducive learning atmosphere where they can show their hidden talent and come up to the expectations of the teachers. Secondly, to develop procedures for the teaching of the 4 language skills that acknowledge the interdependence of language and communication. Because language depends on communication and communication depends on the language. The communicative approach in the language teaching starts from a theory of language as communication, because the goal of language teaching is to develop communicative competence. The characteristics of CLT. Number 1 is that the language is a system for the expression of meaning. The primary function of language is for the interaction and communication. The structure of language reflects its function and communicative uses. The primary units of language are not merely its grammatical and structural features, but categories of functional and communicative meaning. In this, you can see one thing which is very emphasized and highlighted, that is the communication. It's not the grammatical items or grammatical structures which are given more importance in language teaching. That is why communicative language teaching emphasizes the communication skills of the learners. Further, it talks about some of the elements of CLT practices. One such element might be described as a communicative principle. So in which activities that involve the real communication promote learning. Number 2, a second element is the task principle. Tasks can be communicative, which are concerned with the real life situations. Once the tasks are given, are initiated in the classroom, they push students to initiate discussions and interactions with one another. Activities in which language is used for carrying out meaningful tasks promote learning. A third element is the meaningfulness principle. Language that is meaningful to the learner supports the learning process. So the types of learning or teaching activities, for example, the range of exercise types and activities which are compatible with the communicative approach is unlimited, provided that such exercises enable learners to attain communicative objectives of the curriculum, engage learners in communication, and acquire the use of such communicative processes as information sharing, negotiation of meaning, and interaction. The concern of these activities, even our curriculum, is to enable students to be competent enough in terms of communication. So the types of these teaching activities in CLT are task completion activities, in which students are given several tasks to complete. information gathering activities. With the help of tasks, the information gap which is existing gets bridged. Opinion sharing activities, critical thinking, and then information transfer activities so that they should be fluent enough to express themselves. Reasoning gap activities, they argue. Role plays are, such tasks which are very much concerned with the students' lives. For example, they are given typical roles, they perform, there is an exchange of arguments, they share their views, sometimes feelings also. So in this way, they slowly and gradually build confidence, reduce information gap, and turn out to be competent students in the class. So the core assumptions are CLTR, second language learning, is facilitated where learners are engaged in interaction and meaningful communication. Because these days the concept of teaching is facilitation. A good teacher is the one who manages activities, who facilitates the learning process. Effective classroom learning tasks and exercises provide opportunities for students to negotiate meaning, expand their language resources, notice how the language is used, and take part in meaningful interpersonal exchange. Meaningful communication results from students processing content that is relevant, purposeful, interesting, engaging. Learning is all through process. When students go through a certain process, in that sense, CLT provides relevant, purposeful, interesting, and engaging material, engaging initiatives for the students' better learning outcomes. Communication is a holistic process that often calls upon the use of several language skills and modalities. Language learning is facilitated by activities. These days, language teaching is all through activities. Language learning is a gradual process that involves creative use of language and trial and error. One of the ways of improving language was, the habit formation. There was a school of thought, behaviorists. They believe that language learning is just like forming behavior. That is no more workable. That's not applicable here. Learners develop their own routes to language learning, progress at different rates, and have different needs and motivations for language learning. So successful language learning involves the use of effective learning and communication strategies. It's all about, because when we say CLT, the purpose of CLT is to improve students' language learning, competence, and performance. The role of the teacher in the language learning classroom is that of a facilitator who creates a classroom climate conducive to language learning and provides opportunities for students to use and practice. Gone are the days when there used to be lecturing and traditional ways of teaching, in which teachers used to dominate the classrooms and students used to be silent, spectators. As a result, teacher improved his or her own language throughout, the semester. So this was a discouraging approach, which did not result in positive learning outcomes. So the classroom is a community where learners learn through collaboration and sharing. So CLT believes in that, and CLT encourages this collaboration, sharing, interaction among the learners. So the role of a learner and a teacher is very key in CLT. So the emphasis in communicative language teaching is on the processes of communication, not on the mastery of language, not on the grammar, not on the certain structures, not on the patterned teaching. Rather, it encourages creative use of language in communication. And here the roles of teacher in CLT are, the first role is to facilitate communication process between all participants in the classroom, because as I said, teacher serves as a mediator, as an initiator of the activities, as a class manager, as a material designer, and moreover, is a facilitator. So the second role is to act as an independent participant within the learning teaching group. So to conclude, communicative language teaching is best considered is an approach rather than a method. CLT can bring effective learning outcomes on the learner's part if practiced in our education institutions. CLT appealed to those who sought a more humanistic approach to teaching. one in which interactive process of communication received priority. CLT, if it is because these days words needs communicative language teaching method, it are higher education institutions like universities, especially in third world countries where still the traditional teaching method is ongoing. And as a result of these traditional teaching methods, the desired learning outcomes cannot be expected on the part of learners. So it is one of the most significant aspects of ELT, English language teaching, which is a part of linguistics. So CLT must be emphasized, must be encouraged in various language teaching contexts for the students' better learning outcomes, and in which the teachers can play their key role is the mediators, facilitators, initiators, material designers, and classroom managers. So this was all about CLT. Thank you very much for watching.